Hello, and once again, greetings from the jungles of Peru, just outside of Tarapoto. I'm in town having a little break from my work and studies at the Garden of Peace, Ayahuasca and Master Plant Healing Center, where I work and am running things. I wanted to make a video today because this topic just keeps coming up, and I'm in the middle of a long dieta back-to-back diets. So basically, let's talk about sex, baby. I love salt and pepper. All right, sex and ayahuasca, sex and master plants, sex and power plants, sex and spirituality, sex and healing. You know, it's a whole topic. Why is it that sex is often restricted, or people talk about not having sex when you're drinking ayahuasca, or not having sex afterwards for a certain amount of time, and what is the impact? Okay, so I can only talk from my experience, from the path that I'm studying, and from my own understandings and what my maestros have shared with me and what I've learned through experience. So basically, we have to get our heads into the space that we're talking about vibrations, we're talking about energy. When we're talking about ayahuasca, we're talking about the energetic condition of the physical, etheric, energetic, astral, the soul. All these different levels of our being are impacted by what we put in our bodies, what's around our bodies, and sex creates life. I mean, it's this divine act that on one level is just a physical act, but for anyone that's ever been in love or had a mind-blowing orgasm, or practiced any Taoist or tantric techniques, there's something so much more to our sexual energy, not just the act of sex, but our sexual energy, that is so fundamental and powerful. And that is why we have to be mindful of it. Because plants like space. I keep saying this. Ayahuasca works best when there's the most vibrational space in the body. That's why we strip back the diet. That's why we take out these medications. That's why we like to have a peaceful, quiet environment. And why also it can be very beneficial to not have another person's sexual energy merging with our own while we're in our healing process. So let's say you're going for an ayahuasca ceremony on the weekend and you're unsure what to do. Well, first of all, consult the person that's serving your ayahuasca. You know, they should have their own guidance on this, and if you trust them enough to let them serve you medicine, do what they say. If you're drinking by yourself, which again, as you know, I'm not really super supportive of unless you're a very advanced practitioner who's had lots of training and the blessing of a maestro to do that. But if that's what you want to do, even more so, I think at least 48 hours before and 48 hours afterwards, give yourself space, give your body, your spirit, your being space to just connect with the plant. You're entering this intimate relationship with a consciousness and intelligence, putting it in your body, out of respect for the vibrational integrity of that process. Refraining from sexual conduct can be really important. In terms of dieta, which is what we do, la dieta with master plants, stripping the body right back, going super deep, no salt for days, being in isolation, 30 days no sex afterwards. There's no way around that. Right now I've done a week-long diet, I'm in post-dieta for a month, and then I'm doing another diet, so I will have been celibate for sort of like 2.5 months by the time it's over, or nearly 3 months. But that's my dedication to this work, and learning to be clean enough, strong enough, experienced enough to help hold space for others. And for the record, I'm not serving ayahuasca. I'm learning how to just navigate this space and how to support and help and assist. Sexual energy, not just the act of sex, but sexual energy also, is really important to pay attention to. Everyone around here in Peru, if a guy's really tired, they'll make jokes like, oh, you've been having too much sex. And what they're talking about is ejaculation. The Taoist and Tantric traditions know about this. For a man especially, ejaculating is a huge release of life force and prana. So if you've been working with master plants in dieta, or even working with ayahuasca, guys, be mindful of when, how, and how often you're blowing your load, because it's you're letting something go. And I just encourage you, if you're serious about your spiritual development, to pay some attention to that subject. Also, you know, as women, our wombs are these like amazing sacred portals that life comes through. They're attuned to the moon, they're attuned to each other. There's absolutely incredible sacred vessel within our bodies. And you know, when you have sex with someone, a man, I mean, I'm sort of talking about heterosexual sex here, but whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, whatever, it's still worth thinking about this stuff. You let another person inside you, so much of the energy, so many deep energetic cords and ties have been constructed. So, you know, think about how you use your sexual energy. Whether it's just to connect with someone, are you using it in integrity? Are you centered in your sexual energy, or are you throwing it around? You know, this is our creative life force, and one of the greatest lessons of working with these plants, because plants make you horny, they make you fertile, they make you connected with nature and healthy and shiny and all of these things, so we can become very attractive and very attracted. And we absolutely must learn to discipline ourselves in a respectful way, so that our sexuality can be part of our spiritual life. You know, our spiritual life isn't some separate thing that happens outside of everything else. It's all encompassing every moment of every day. It's not put your spirituality in your daily life. It's put your daily life into your spirituality, if you're really serious about coming into alignment with your highest truth and living in service and flowing and being connected to source and all of these things that ultimately lead to happiness and harmony. So that there he goes. I'm still working through it, but I feel like I'm onto a good thing. So that's my little rant about ayahuasca and sex. You know, if you're in a loving partnership and your energies are aligned, okay, maybe you're going to approach things a little bit differently, but this is just all stuff for you to think about and be aware of, and you know, respectfully try things out, listen to the guidance of the healers, maestros, curanderos, facilitators, shaman, whoever's around you. But yeah, I wish you all the very best in all of your wonderful, creative, erotic, sacred, divine, sensual lives, that you go forth and prosper. Bless. Ciao.